Wake up, drink water, Wim Hof breathing, cold plunge, grounding, get sunlight, meditate, journal. So many young men around the world want to start a business, but they are misinformed. They think the more good habits they do, the more successful they'll be. But they are wrong because they are missing one key component of their morning routine. I watched over 1,000 hours of self-improvement content from Millionaires online, and over this time, I was able to develop a routine with only the essential habits they all do, so I can have the maximum productivity and not waste my time in the morning. You can use this morning routine to excel at literally anything in life by just replacing the business work with whatever your priority is right now. I don't recommend doing this morning routine if you are new to self-improvement, because it is quite hard and you would be better off following this video I made a while ago. That is the level 1 morning routine, but I strongly encourage you to watch this video first so you get an idea of what you might want to get into after you overcome the first stages of self-improvement, so you know what is ahead of you. But you should still watch it, so put that video into your watch later playlist. This won't be no pussy morning routine where I tell you to do fucking 20 habits before you actually get to work. No, that is not necessarily bad. But the most successful businessmen don't do that. When they are in this period when they need to lock in and work as much as possible, they still do some of the habits, but only a few essential ones. Every businessman does different things. Some of them do more good habits, some of them less. But there are certain habits every high-level entrepreneur online does. And here I want to tell you the routine for maximum productivity that I was able to develop after watching thousands of hours worth of self-improvement content. This morning routine is brutal, and what you need to understand is that you won't be able to sustain it for a long time. Not even they do it for longer than 6 months. This routine is purely for the guys who need to lock in and just work. You might not even be able to do this, because living like this is fucking hard. You have to kill the person you were before and be reborn. You have to become a new version of yourself to be able to do this morning routine. But I guarantee you that if you manage to do it, you'll be far more successful than the average man your age. The summer is coming, and I think that is the perfect opportunity for you to go all in on this at least for a month. Now, one thing I need to mention is that if you do this for a long time, even for just a month, your social skills will suffer. The influencers don't say this, but I think that if you are going to do this, you should make a habit where you talk to at least one stranger every day. But now let's get to the actual routine that millionaires use for maximum productivity. Almost every rich and successful person online wakes up early. Even people like Alex Hormozi, who make fun of these entrepreneur routines. Even he talks about how he wakes up early. And when I say early, I don't mean 7 or 6 a.m. I am talking about the super early hours like 5 or 4 a.m. Some of them even wake up at 3 a.m. And you might think that waking up early is not really that much of a benefit, because if you wake up early, you have to go to sleep early, so you have the same amount of time for work anyway. And while that may be technically true, you need to know something most of these people don't realize. Your work in the morning is far more valuable than the work you do during the afternoon. When you work late in the day, people will call you, people will message you, your parents might randomly barge in and disturb you, etc. And also most people's brains just work better in the morning. When you wake up super early in the morning on this sacred time, you will be less likely to distract yourself. You won't randomly start scrolling on TikTok, and no one will disturb you. So while you do work the same amount of time, the work you do is far better in the morning. So after they wake up, they start doing something called the frog task. This is the concept of eating the frog by Brian Tracy. Basically, if you had to eat a live frog during dinner time, would you eat it before or after your meal? And your answer will tell me everything about how successful you will be in the future. Because the successful person would eat the frog before his dinner, so that he could enjoy his food after and not think about the frog. He would rather do the hard thing first so that he can enjoy the rest of his day. That's why the most successful people do the work that requires the most effort first thing in the morning, so that they don't have to think about it later in the day. And when I say straight after waking up, I mean like right after. Literally just get out of bed and start doing it straight away. No getting water, no brushing teeth, nothing. Just straight to work. And once the frog task is done, then they go and do the normal human things like brushing their teeth, getting water, coffee, doing some meditation, gratitude journaling, or even taking a nap. And right after that, they go back to work, and they specifically focus on getting into a flow state. This is what I actually forgot to mention. Every time you do some meaningful work, you have to focus on getting into a flow state. A flow state is basically focusing on a task and having no thoughts in your mind. This is what athletes call getting into the zone. You probably heard an athlete before say, "Yeah, I got into the zone, and that's when I started scoring." You probably experienced getting into a flow state before, but it happened randomly and you didn't really even realize how you got there. And so you may wonder how to actually get into the zone more effectively and do it intentionally. The way to get yourself into the zone is to basically give your brain signals that it's time to focus, like for example wearing a uniform that you wear only during your work, having your workplace set up exactly the same before you start work, or listening to the same song every time. These things will signal to your brain that it's time to focus. And notice how there has been no eating yet. It's like 4 or 5 p.m. by now, and they still haven't eaten. Because the most successful entrepreneurs realize that food gives them brain fog, so they eat only after their most important things are done. Now, I wouldn't recommend eating once a day if you aren't really used to fasting, because when you are really hungry, that can actually make your performance worse, so I'd recommend skipping breakfast, for example. Now, I want to give you a disclaimer here. This will slow down your muscle progress a little, even if you eat the right amount of macros. But I think that if your main priority is making money right now, it's worth it. So after their most important work is done, they go and do a workout. Some of them do it only for maintenance, and some of them work out regularly. You can choose which one you'd prefer. I personally just like working out, so I work out normally, but I still try to keep my workouts as short as possible. After that, they finally go eat, but they don't eat with some dopamine over-edited video playing in the background. No, they eat while learning. So for example, they put on an educational podcast while they learn, because the most successful people learn every day. And remember, this meal has to be big. You have to hit all your daily macros with it. And what do they eat? Well, most of them are actually carnivores, so they just eat meat. But I don't actually know if the carnivore diet is the best one. I've tried it for a week before, but I didn't really feel much of a difference, so I'd actually recommend a diet where you eat just natural stuff like eggs, meat, butter, salt, nuts, and some veggies. But I'd recommend that you avoid carbs as much as possible. You don't have to cut them out completely, but just know that they will give you brain fog. When they are done eating the food needs to digest. So most of them say that they either talk to their team, reply to messages, and talk to their family. They just do the little things that don't really require much effort, but give a lot of benefit in the long run. After they do that, they usually just go learn, read books, talk to other millionaires, watch videos, etc. And they do this until they feel sleepy. They do their nighttime routine, and then they go to sleep to repeat the day once again. And you may be thinking, oh, but what about cold plunges, red light therapy, going to a sauna, etc.? Those things are nice, and they are good for your health. But most entrepreneurs don't actually do them when they are in these periods when they need to lock in. This mindset of wanting to do more habits is actually going to keep you less successful. Trust me, I'd know. A good influencer you could start watching who talks about exactly this, just doing the essentials in order to do the most amount of work, is called Alex Hormozi. So you can also go check him out if this really interests you. Alright, that's it for today. Go click on the subscribe button, share this video with a friend who needs to hear it. Go join the Wisdom Clan with the first link in the description, and go do something productive now. Bye.